Have you ever lost something so fundamental that you didn't realize how much you needed it until it was gone, and then had it given back to you in the most unexpected way possible? My name is Will Murphy, or it was. I'm 18, a senior in high school, and my story is about how everything changed in ways I never could have imagined. It started during a basketball game, regional semifinals. I went up for a rebound, got bumped mid-air, and came down wrong. Really wrong. I heard the crack, felt a sharp pain in my neck, and then nothing. Absolutely nothing below my neck. The diagnosis was devastating. Severe spinal cord injury. Paralyzed from the neck down. The doctors said it might be permanent. I could talk, breathe on my own, and chew, but that was it. No arms, no legs, no sensation. Just my head attached to a body that wouldn't respond. It was hell. Pure hell. I'd been an athlete my entire life. Basketball was everything to me. And now I couldn't even scratch my own nose.
My older sister Sarah helped me constantly. She'd been working as a substitute teacher at my high school for the past year, fresh out of college. She'd sit with me, talk to me, try to keep my spirits up. She was the best part of those awful weeks. Then, weeks after my injury, she collapsed at home. Brain aneurysm. Massive and sudden. They got her to the hospital, but she was brain dead. They put her on life support to keep her body functioning while my parents made decisions. My parents were destroyed. They'd been dealing with my paralysis, and now they'd lost their daughter. I was heartbroken too, but I was also numb. Everything felt surreal. That's when the doctors approached my parents with an idea. Head transplant technology had advanced significantly. Sarah's body was healthy. My head was fine, just attached to a paralyzed body. Theoretically, they could transplant my head onto her body. I'd have mobility again, sensation again, a functioning body.
My parents were hesitant. It felt wrong, but I convinced them. I told them it would be like both their children living on. Sarah's body would keep going, and I'd have my life back. Deep down, I just wanted to move again. I wanted to feel things again. I didn't care what body it was. I just wanted out of that paralyzed prison. They agreed. With Sarah's body on life support, they had to move quickly. The surgery happened within 2 days. When I woke up 3 days after the operation, the first thing I did was wiggle my fingers. They moved, actually moved. I could feel the hospital sheets beneath them. I could feel everything. I started crying immediately, not from sadness, but from pure relief. I could move. I could feel. After weeks of nothing, I had sensation back. The doctor came in and explained what would happen next. The body was female, obviously, Sarah's. The hormones would gradually feminize my face over the next few months. I'd end up looking like a female version of myself, probably very similar to Sarah since we shared genetics.
I didn't care. I was moving my hands, my arms, my legs. I could feel my toes. I could feel the bed beneath me. That's all that mattered. My parents were there, crying. I knew they were grieving Sarah. I was too. But I was also overwhelmed with gratitude. I could move again. 3 days after waking up, they discharged me. My parents had decided to move me into Sarah's room. It made sense. All her clothes were there, everything I'd need to function in this body. That first day home, I just walked around the house, up and down the stairs, through every room, just walking, feeling my legs work, feeling my feet on the floor. It was incredible. Then I went to Sarah's room and looked at myself properly in the mirror for the first time. My face was still mine, still masculine with stubble and sharp angles, but below that was entirely her body. I was shorter now, maybe 5'6". I had breasts, hips, a completely different shape.
I looked in her wardrobe and saw all her clothes. I knew I'd have to wear them. My old stuff wouldn't fit this body at all. I opened her underwear drawer and pulled out a black and white geometric pattern bikini, triangle cups that tied behind the neck and back, matching bottoms. I stripped out of the loose clothes I'd worn home and stood naked in front of the mirror. This was wild. I had a female body, breasts, a flat stomach, wider hips, smooth legs, and between my legs, completely different anatomy. But I could feel all of it. That's what mattered. I could feel my hands touching my skin, could feel the air on my body. After weeks of feeling nothing, every sensation was incredible. I put on the bikini, the bottoms first, pulling them up and feeling the fabric against my hips and down under. Then I fumbled with the top, trying to figure out how to tie it. When I finally got it secured, I looked in the mirror.
A guy's head on a woman's body in a bikini. It looked absurd, but I didn't care. I could move, I could feel. I spent the next few hours trying on her bras just because I could, just because I had working arms and hands that could put them on. Sports bras, lace bras, push-up bras, each one felt different against my skin. The sensation was new and strange and honestly pretty exciting. I was an 18-year-old guy who suddenly had a female body with full sensation. Of course I was curious. Of course I wanted to explore it. That night, alone in Sarah's room, I spent time really getting familiar with how this body worked. The sensations were completely different from what I'd known before. Everything was more intense, more whole body. I won't go into details, but let's just say I was very thorough. Maybe I'll share more about that another time.
3 weeks after getting home, I'd fully adjusted to having a mobile body again. I was wearing Sarah's clothes daily, getting used to how they fit. I particularly liked her underwear, the sexy stuff, lace bras and matching panties. It made me feel good about this body in a way I hadn't expected. I stood in front of the mirror wearing a light gray lace bra with delicate floral patterns and matching light gray lace panties. My face had started changing. The angles were softer, my jawline less pronounced, my cheekbones higher, my lips fuller. The stubble barely grew back anymore. I looked more androgynous now. Not quite male, not quite female. But my body was undeniably feminine, and I'd got comfortable with it. Really comfortable. I loved how it looked, loved how it felt, loved wearing the clothes that showed it off. My parents had suggested changing my name legally. Since my face was changing and I'd eventually go back to school, it would be easier with a feminine name. We settled on Vilma. Close enough to Will that it felt familiar, but feminine enough to match how I'd look.
I signed the paperwork without hesitation. At this point, I was just grateful to be mobile. A name change seemed like nothing compared to what I'd already been through. 2 months after that, I was standing in my backyard wearing my old basketball jersey, navy blue with red and white trim around the sleeveless armholes and neckline. I'd put it on thinking maybe I could still feel like the athlete I used to be. But looking down at myself, all I saw was a girl wearing an oversized jersey. It hung loose, but couldn't hide the breasts underneath. The way it fell over my hips, instead of looking like a basketball player, I looked like a girlfriend wearing her boyfriend's shirt. My face had become much more feminine. My hair had grown longer, falling past my shoulders in loose waves. When I looked in the mirror now, I saw Sarah. Not exactly, but close enough that the resemblance was unmistakable. We were siblings. My female face was always going to look like hers.
It was a Saturday. 2 days after that, I'd be returning to school. The doctors had cleared me, saying I could pass as female. Everyone at school knew what had happened. They knew Sarah had died and that I'd survived by getting her body. They knew I'd be coming back as Vilma. I was nervous, but also excited. I missed my friends, especially my best mate Carson, the football quarterback. Over these past months, I'd done more than just adjust to having a mobile body again. I'd fully explored what this body could do, what felt good, how everything worked. And honestly, I loved it. Being able to move, to feel, to experience sensation again was incredible. The fact that it came in a female body didn't bother me at all. If anything, it made it more interesting.
That Monday, I returned to school wearing one of Sarah's outfits. People stared. Carson found me between classes and we reconnected. Over the next few weeks, we got really close. Something had shifted between us. The way he looked at me now, the way I felt around him, it was confusing, but also exciting. I'd never thought about Carson that way before. But in this body, with these hormones, everything felt different. 2 months after returning to school, my transformation was complete. My face was entirely feminine now, a perfect match to Sarah's. When people looked at me, they saw their former substitute teacher. The resemblance was so exact that sometimes people would do a double take, forgetting for a moment that Sarah was gone and I was the one wearing her face now. I joined the cheerleading squad. The basketball player became a cheerleader. It made sense. I wanted to support Carson's football games, and cheerleading was the way to do it. Plus, I actually loved it. The routines, the uniforms, the energy. My body could do all these things, and I was going to use it.
I stood in the school hallway between classes wearing a soft yellow blouse with delicate floral embroidery, off-the-shoulder design with gathered short sleeves that created a romantic, feminine silhouette. The fabric was lightweight and slightly sheer. I'd paired it with a navy blue pencil skirt that hugged my hips. My hair fell in styled waves past my shoulders, and I wore silver hoop earrings with my makeup done perfectly. Carson and I were officially dating now. We'd started the previous month, and the week before, we'd gone all the way. I won't get into details here, but it was intense. I'd felt everything. The pressure, the stretch, the brief pain, and then the red fluid. Sarah had never done it at 27. I hadn't expected that. But it didn't matter. This body was mine now. Those experiences were mine.
Being with Carson felt natural, right? He knew who I used to be, but when he looked at me, he just saw Vilma, the girl I'd become. And I had genuinely become her, not just physically, mentally too. I thought like a girl, acted like one, felt like one. Before all this, if someone had asked me if I wanted to be a woman, I would have said absolutely not. But now, after being paralyzed and getting this body back with full sensation, after experiencing everything that came with being female, I wouldn't go back. Even if someone offered me a male body with full mobility, I'd choose to stay as Vilma. This body works. I can move. I can feel. I can do everything I couldn't do before, plus a whole lot more. This is who I am now, and I genuinely love it.